Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for accepting the invite.
My pleasure, and it's an honor.
Hi, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us on
It
this
is
platform.
absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. Thank you. And it's so nice to connect with all of you virtually. We've been following each other on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's nice to engage now virtually.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this pandemic has, given this gift to all of us that we are able to connect more apart from LinkedIn, actually, and we're able to know more each other.
Yes. Some fabulous work being done, and I can see everyone's very active and contributing, I think, to the whole collaborative process.
Yeah.
For me, that's the best part of the pandemic.
Absolutely, ma'am. I agree, very much agree.
So y'all are all still locked in, restricted movement for all of you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, not exactly the lockdown. It's a lockdown. However, because the cases are increasing day by day, so we are still taking precautions actually. So we go out, but once or twice, max twice in a week actually.
Is there a buzzing sound that y'all hear? Is that someone's audio, or just want to confirm it's not something to do with my internet connection? Are we okay on the audio?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, so Ravi, shall we start?
Sure. All right. So I would like to welcome all of you for today's webinar, which talks about the sports curriculum. It talks about why sports is important and how can we implement sports in our curriculum, which is ongoing curriculum actually, and how it is important for the school, for the students, for the teachers, for the parents. What importance does it carry? As it is a part of NEP now, so we have to implement it in the schools. So I would like to welcome Fatima Agakar, who is a founder of A Sports Education, and she has created this curriculum, sports curriculum for the school. So we will talk about the same, about the sports, about the importance of sports with Miss Fatima Agarkar. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again for accepting our invite and share your advice and the information and your thoughts about the sports. Why is it important and how can it be a part of our ongoing curriculum? To introduce Ms. Fatima Agakar, as I said, she is the founder of A Sports Education. She is an experienced entrepreneur with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry, skilled in management, leadership development, business development, marketing strategy, and business strategy. Strong entrepreneurship professional, 3 educational startups. So I would like to thank you, ma'am, once again, and welcome to this workshop. To start with, ma'am, why don't you brief something about on the sports education? Then I will shoot out the questions to you. So please share what is sports education actually? What is it?
Thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, it's indeed an honor and a privilege to be talking about a topic that is so close to my heart. I'm just going to say I'm a sportsman's wife. I'm a sportsman's daughter. I'm a sportsman's mother. I've been a sportsman's sister. So sport is in my DNA. But just to clarify, I never played a single sport in my life. The biggest regret I had, which is why I backed for sports. This is relevant for not only the future of our country, in terms of even participation in all these world activities which are sporting, but it's also for the career choices that the students will have. Remember, parents, we've gone through a pandemic. This pandemic has taught us that the careers of the future are going to be skilled careers. Anything, economists will tell you, anything that is, Rabia, can be automated. And I'm going to say law, finance, medicine, all can be automated. The ones that you cannot have a robot playing cricket or soccer is going to be sport. So from a career perspective, from a perspective of what it teaches you in terms of life skills, sports integration is important. And after 34 years, finally in the vision document of the National Education Policy, it's become a statement. Sport is important and sport should be a part of it. Again, when Ajit started playing for India, which was at 19, I dare say he was one amongst a million who got the opportunity to make it to 11. But today, that was 20 years ago. But today, you don't only have to play for India. You have so many more opportunities. The world has opened up. Sport is not just about representing your state or country. You can take on so much more. That means there's so much more potential. That means children can play and make a career out of it. Now, this one is a bit tricky for us as emotional Indians. So I'm going to say that. Australia does it successfully. South Africa does it successfully. They build sport as part of education. Here, we like our marks. क्रिकेट में अच्छा कर रहा है तो ठीक है, लेकिन मैथ में ये एवरेज नहीं चलेगा. Stop sport, focus on math. That poor child cannot, because he has done as much as he could. I think the shift now is going to be interesting, that we will allow children to play. The government will have to start thinking about infrastructure. And all the principals, educators who are sitting out there running those schools, if you tell me we don't have space, I will tell you, my husband was a part of a school that was one building. But the management believed in sport, so they connected with gymkhanas. They made an effort to move their children to parks. So please don't tell me building hai. Mumbai mein to building hi hogi. You will not have the luxury of Delhi 10 acres. I envy those schools. Sport is not restricted to infrastructure. Sport is restricted to vision. And sports integration is so that's my passion, which is why I'm very excited to be talking to you today.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful explanation given for the sports. Ma'am, before I jump into another question, I have a question in my mind. Now, because of pandemic, sports, if you talk about the sports or outdoor sports we are talking about, it's restricted because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic. So would you be able to guide us what all sports can be played at house during the lockdown at our own places, which can keep this child fit, which can be a part of curriculum as well, and also it could be a fun kind of activity, so that the child should not lose interest, because most of the children, we know that because of the pandemic, they are under stress, they are getting frustrated, and the anger, man, they're not able to handle their anger also. So how, what kind of sports do they play which comes under the curriculum as well as kind of fun?
Actually, great question, and a very pertinent question, right? I mean, while we want our children to play, quite frankly, the last 6 months they've been in lockdown. Again, when I said don't think of infrastructure as being restricted, I think you have to understand that when we are in lockdown, you have to cope with a new normal. And the new normal tells us that sport is not only outdoor sports. There's indoor and outdoor sports. Importantly, when think of it when the soccer teams or the cricket teams or the badminton teams, they're all seasonal, right? There's a season to play. Yeah, right now, you can, I mean, before the pandemic, you could play it around the year because different countries have different weather systems. But the fact is, historically, there's also an off season. In the off season, what happens is a lot of the athletes build on physical fitness. It's even more important. It's not only skill about, the technique, but it's also about what you are doing to your body to condition. So even in your house, you need one yoga mat. You don't need 7,000 square feet of gym space to do your push-ups. You need one small area. Yoga, push-ups, basic exercises. I know, of a very talented football coach. His name is Harish. He's putting out so many videos, all free of cost, because he just loves football, but he knows his kids can't come to him in his academy. So he's created these little videos where children can just use that. Now they don't have to be logging on and watching him while doing it. Once you understand an exercise, you can do it anywhere. You can do your short, runs even in your corridor. Lift area to hai, staircases, skipping. If you build on your fitness, if you look at what IPL team members have done in lockdown, okay, to be ready for a big tournament like that, they have only worked on fitness. For all the principals, teachers, parents out there, you must have seen videos. They were in their hotel room quarantined for 14 days, but they were still doing their fitness routine. So you work on fitness. So when you are, it's possible for you to be in the outdoor space, at least your body is ready to take on skills. There are techniques for different sports. You can dribble, you can, I mean, basketball has a different, I'm pretty sure you can't put a hoop in your room, in your house to do it, but you can still do the dribbling techniques. You know what? It's all about collating those videos, and depending on what your child likes, the child can still do the physical activities. There are indoor sports. I would invest in chess. I would have paid a lot of attention to board games. That's also sport. That's also, so think of what you can do. Now we can't go out. It's a fact. So all 6 months, what will you do? Sit on the couch and eat? That's not how you will cope with it. So I think the mindset has to be that we can't crib about what we can't do, but we can make do with what we have, and what we have is not so bad. Lots of
Absolutely.
things. The jumps, simple things. Everybody has a bed at home, I'm pretty sure. Get your kids to jump up and down the bed. These are things that are physical fitness. It's not about gym, it's not about equipment. A simple skipping rope is enough. I think it's about whether you have the attitude and whether the parents make it a routine. You know, I think the attitude, Rabia, is what I believe is the difference. And
Yes,
maybe
ma'am.
school managements can also make this a part of the curriculum.
Right.
Yes, you're doing online learning, but why don't you give 1 hour for sport about physical fitness? Bring in some music with it. Why don't you do Zumba with the kids? Why does it have to be curricular? Why can't it be fun physical activities to become physically fit?
Exactly. Absolutely. I completely agree, ma'am. It's a kind of attitude. We just have to change our mindset actually and make the best use of time, whatever we are going through. We have to be a little positive, and we have to change the thoughts, our thoughts actually. How can we use this time in a better way so that it should enhance our skills also, and we should not be get disturbed because of the situation.
And we
So,
should be ready. We should be ready. So,
absolutely.
if you are doing some physical activities, Rabia, I often tell parents, you know what, your children are not going to school at waking up at 6 in the morning, eating breakfast quickly and getting on the bus. You have the luxury of time because the login is usually 8 or 8:30. That means you have a lot more time in the morning. What is stopping you from getting your kid to just run and up and down the corridor for 20 minutes? Get the metabolic rate up. That is good because they will eat better. When they eat better, they'll actually pay attention, and the cameras will be on when they're on
Absolutely,
working.
ma'am. It actually helps, affects your physical health and the mental health too. I completely agree to you. Thank you so much for your views on this, how we can use this time using these kind of activities. Ma'am, I just need a favor from you. Could you please mention the name of the concerned person, Mr. Harish, as you said, and the link where if he has any Facebook page so that the parents can use the best
Sure. I'll put his name down in the chat box.
That would be of great help, ma'am. So he must be having some Facebook page where
he does have a Facebook page. You can follow him on Insta. He's
Insta.
actually also associated with Ace Sports.
All right.
So even if you go to the Ace Sports Facebook page, you'll find a lot of these videos out.
Great. It would be of very good help to all the educators and the parents as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now coming to the next question. As you all know, sport education is among the most popularly implemented and research pedagogical model worldwide. Still, it's considered as extracurricular activities in most of the schools. So, ma'am, why it is so? Why it is considered as extracurricular activity and not as a part of, a regular academic planner or a, curriculum, basically?
So I think historically, like I mentioned, as a country, we like our achievements. And achievements for every parent or every school restricts itself to the mark sheet. And the mark sheet talks about English, math, science, commerce, ICT, etc., which are a PE is always put at the bottom or actually doesn't even feature, because even in the best of 5, PE doesn't feature. International schools came in 20 years ago and said, that is restrictive. And what I'm talking about is largely the national board schools that have historically been like that. The international schools came in and said PE is important. Like, for example, Cambridge has PE as a subject in grade 10. Okay, and that subject gives you extra credits to then do your 11th and 12th. They already started thinking how important sports was going to be for the future. And it's not just skills. It's not cricket or football. It's each of these sports have the same skill sets. You need to understand body mechanics. You need to understand biology. You need to understand how the body works and physical fitness before you can even become a trained athlete. That's the science. We as a country, honestly, I've had parents who tell me, my son is 3 years old, but he is the next Tendulkar. I said, 3 years old, how can you know he's going to be the next Tendulkar? And Ajit plays golf as well. So, I mean, because we run sports, a lot of parents come and say, he's ready. So Ajit said, how old is he? He's 5 years old. And Ajit said he's not ready to play cricket. He's ready to play sports in general. So now the mindset was, it's marks. We didn't build infrastructure. We never thought about building a school and having a playground. Now the government is saying, no, you have to have 40% open to sky so children can play.
Absolutely.
Things are changing. So the word extracurricular is now becoming co-curricular. The bottom line is we're an emotional country, which we think about traditional careers. We have to recognize statistics. McKinsey is saying that. Stanford is saying that the careers of the future parents are not going to be traditional careers. They are going to be performing arts. They are going to be creative arts. They are going to be sports. And the sad part is, Rabia, I've done my MBA and I was speaking to a young, graduate who's, of course, he's graduated and the pandemic happened. He's moved into sports management because he's saying at least sporting activities are on. Everything else is status quo. He was a budding footballer who gave it up because his parents insisted 9th and 10th, you have to study. So he said, I gave up my dream. And today, he's saying MBA aside, I was getting my starting salary as 20,000. In sports management, it's gone to 75,000. So he said, nothing I learned is making sense, but my passion is now coming into play. So I think parents will have to jump in. Very tough. Managements have to believe that. And I'm no disrespect to any of the principals and teachers, but I know that when English doesn't get completed, the first period to go out is sport. Music with anything, like in sport, PE period is out. What will they achieve in PE? That mindset makes it extracurricular before and after. If people start thinking about the importance, they'll plug it in. 50 periods in a week, Rabia. How can they do 10 periods of English? You will bother kids. Give them 3 periods of sport. You see how they will perform in those curriculum. So the importance is that.
Yes, you become more active when you play actually. The mind becomes active. Your physical body becomes more active when you start playing actually. Plus, ma'am, as you said, it's not only the parents, it's the management as well. So both sides, they have to think, they have to change their mindset. I completely agree to you.
And it's very reassuring when the national education policy is saying now every child will play. I mean,
Absolutely.
Ravi, you have to understand why I'm so passionate about sport. For a country that has 1.3 billion people, we come under Croatia, which is smaller than Mumbai in terms of density per of the population. In when we compete at Olympics, 1.3 billion people, we can't put out a contingent where we have people participating, whereas a small country wins more medals. I mean, that is the state. So it's directive from the center, states thinking about it, managements, parents supporting for these children to succeed. And I cannot believe there won't be more Tendulkars or Virat Kohlis or Ronaldos in our homes. We
Ma'am,
just need to nurture them.
in fact, I just share the in scenario. I used to work for an IT organization. So, when we used to, select the candidate, the more weighted we used to give on his extracurricular and co-curriculum activities, wherein what kind of activities he is doing apart from studies, which includes the sports and rest of the, if he is into some singing, if he's to some, kind of, music playing. So the IT organization, if somebody is has kind of 40% weightage given to this extracurricular co-curriculum activities, that person used to get a much more salary package than the person who is very good at studies actually. So IT organization, I think it was like 10 years ago when this was the scenario with the IT organization. I think most of the IT organizations have been taking consideration into this sports activities and sports curriculum already when
Yeah.
it comes to hiring part actually.
Ravi, I want to actually add on to that point. When you rightly pointed out a brilliant observation, because what's going to happen is with the technology now, with the ability for us to track these children, you know what? Everyone's going to get a 90. Even the average kid will land up getting a 90, and I'm guaranteeing you that, because now we're getting intel about
Exactly.
which question the child didn't understand, how to help the child. We are tracking it and intervening. So then what will we have is 190s. Then who do you pick? Who do you
Exactly.
pick? So managements, if you want your children to get placed in good colleges, in good universities,
Yes.
you will have to give them something that makes them stand apart.
Now
That is the portfolio.
Absolutely. So the example is BITS Pilani. They give more weightage to the extracurricular and co-curriculum activities, ma'am. Apart from studies, they have this kind of 50% or 40% scenario wherein they will give a scholarship if the student is from the sports background. So most of the colleges and universities are giving scholarships based on the sports activities if the child is from the sports background.
This is what happens in America. This is what happens in Australia. You get into Harvard on a sports quota.
Absolutely.
You will not get into Harvard basis of your degree. You get a scholarship base because they want athletes. Now, this is important. Our private institutions and now higher education is also recognizing that sport is actually education in itself.
Education.
History, geography, everything can be actually linked to it. And I know we run cricket math, where lockdown time says we've used cricket to combine math skills, science skills, language skills. It is possible. We'll talk a little bit more about it.
Absolutely. Sure, ma'am. So the next question is, a student should be physically and emotionally healthy and stay focused to perform well in the academics. Can including sports activities in the curriculum help them to achieve this to a great extent? Ma'am, as we already spoken about this, yes, sports play an important role. It improves the mental health, it improves the mental ability, it improves the physical health. But as we talk about curriculum, still, the management or the parents or the educators, they have this thing that, yes, they need to perform better when it comes to academics, and sports can be that's okay if this child is not that active. So, ma'am, now you have to please share your inputs so that the parents and the teachers can also understand the importance and that how important is for the child is to perform equally, well in the sports as well, apart from that.
Right. So for all the educators, teachers, managements, etc., you need to recognize that what sports does is actually transfers a lot of positivity into the classroom. Think about the theory of multiple intelligences. Think about the learning styles of, we talk about it, right? That's a kinesthetic learner. This learner needs
Right.
movement. That's an audiovisual learner. This one's a listener. We say all this in workshops, but then we don't implement it. Now, if I'm a kinesthetic learner and I need movement, and for 1 hour you make me sit in one place, of course I'm going to distract others. I'm going to disrupt your class because I'm bored. I need movement. So think about how you can harness my energy as a kinesthetic learner by making sure my extra energy is channelized. When you do that, you are allowing an outlet for that extra energy. You are basically also creating, like I said, great input, adrenaline, positive hormones, confidence, because in the class,
Yes.
math I can't understand, but when I'm in the badminton court, the way I play makes me a hero, gives me great amount of confidence. Maybe I'll transfer that confidence in the classroom. Maybe my self-esteem will increase. You know what? Language teachers or math teachers, why don't you combine with PE teachers? Why don't you have a subject? You know what? Everyone's online. Get both of you together and have a common period. You will save your time. PE teacher will save the time. You'll get a lot of work done. You'll get happier kids. You know why? Because they'll understand the relevance of what is this linear equation. It's a simple graph. You can equate it to a math statistic. Run rates. It's percentages and decimals. Probability, who's going to win? Looking at the stats, you can interdisciplinary education can happen. So one is making sure all that extra energy is channelized because you've given children that period. We have every kind of learner in our classroom. We've got the happy-go-lucky one, we've got the attentive one, we've got the habitual, loo breaker. We've got all kinds of kids. So we have to cope with them, and all of them honestly will benefit from exposure if you give them that physical period. I have to say, at least up to grade 5, everyone should be playing sports. Okay, I don't like it. I never liked to play sport. Sports day for me was all about, oh God, I'm a literary child. I loved my books. Now sports day came, means you have to wear shorts and t-shirt and run, and that was not something I enjoyed. I wish that PE teacher had made an effort with me. You know what? I might have been a fitter kid. I was a very pleasantly plump child. Maybe I would have, improved my fitness. We have to think about psychology. Today, pandemic has taught us socio-emotional learning is important. The child's mindset is important. And if we integrate sport in learning and to expose them to opportunities, who knows? I may have been a badminton player. So someone missed out on me, and I don't think we should miss out on our children. It's up to us now as educators to do that. And parents, please, please, please understand, your child will get 90 or 100. Your child will get whatever you want, your child will get. There are enough available options, but what you will deny your child is the opportunity to play, because you cannot play when you're 45. Yes, you can, but you won't be able to do what you can at 14, at 15. They will learn to regret it. Remember this MBA. He said, nothing I learned in life has actually helped me. And I'm doing what I believed in. And then he's turned around and he's told his parents, and they said, "Ha, beta, bhool ho gayi." But 20 years were lost. So think about that. Think about what we're doing. Yes, it works on stamina. Honestly, if you run, if you eat well, you are more alert. It's a fact.
Absolutely.
You don't sleep, you know what, you'll get tired, you'll sleep better. All those sleep problems that parents tell me, bache sote nahi hai, technology, there's too much screen time, all that's humbug. You have a routine, you get the kids up at 6 o'clock in the morning, let them exercise, eat well, they will be alert. I think it's an effort, not just by the parent, but by the teachers, management, and English teachers, math teachers, science teachers. Go combine your efforts with the PE teachers, you see how easier your job will be. You'll have more kids actually with the videos on.
Very well said, ma'am. Very well said. Actually, I mean, yes, parents and educators have to work together on this basically. And I feel, ma'am, if you, I mean, I think this increases the productivity even when the child goes for any job or gets placement. I think the productivity also increases when they have their mindset active and they are already into extracurricular or sports activities. Basically.
Also,
This is what I
because
feel.
Rabi, if you think about it, see, and I'm going to talk a little bit about team sport. Team sport is actually your ability to work with team members.
Absolutely. This is, I was coming on this point.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
So, team, I think when you have a sports like a badminton or, when you have a sports like a cricket, it increases, it helps you become for a strong team collaboration as well, team bonding people. So, the child will learn the collaboration side also, the teamwork also, which is a kind of 4Cs of a 21st century. The creativity part comes into picture immediately when you are into sports.
And decision making, you have to decide which stroke to play when. You have to left and right coordination, left brain, right brain activated at the same time. Please understand, skills are associated with one part of the brain, academics and learning is associated with the other, bringing it together. Also, patience, accepting defeat. Large part of our mental health problems, we're celebrating Mental Health World Day on Saturday. I have too many middle schoolers and high schoolers who are struggling with depression at the moment because there's no outlet. Sport gives you an outlet. It makes you realize, yes, it's a good day. It's not possible to go out there and score 10 goals every time you play a match. Ronaldo, Messi have not been able to do that. But it's about the ability to say, okay, that day is over. What can I do to improve? It's also about discipline. It's also about fitness. I know, and this is a personal story. My husband used to, my mother-in-law tells me, my husband used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, be at the ground at 6, 8 o'clock he was in school, 2:30 they finished, they were back on the field. You know what? I'm going to say my 14-year-old can't do that. You know why? Because we as parents protected them. Nahi, he'll get tired. Nahi, ye hoga. Kuch nahi hota hai. I think it's about inculcating the right attitude.
Very well said, ma'am. Ma'am, okay, now suddenly I got a question in my mind. As you said that the MBA degree did not help him. In fact, what helped him was his passion actually. Because, ma'am, to be honest, as India, as our own country, parents or educators, we are more concerned with the degree side. So I have a question, ma'am. I mean, though I know the answer, but it is, I think this question must be asked for the other educators and parents to know about it. Does actually marks make your destiny?
I'm just going to very simply put it. If I look at statistics, and I have done a little bit of research on it because this was very important to me. And I'm going to give you an example of the top CEOs worldwide, including India. A lot of them will not have those fabulous Ivy League degrees, marks. They're actually the 50 percenters. Very interesting statistic. I think it is going to be published because of the pandemic. It was delayed. Yes, of course, you're going to have, the brainy ones. But those who are leading organizations are the ones who found solutions basis of a lot of things. They played sport. They had a great childhood, music, perform. They did everything. Those skills,
they must have followed their passion and their talent actually, rather than just running behind the marks or the degree, if I'm not mistaken, ma'am.
But absolutely, Rabia. But I'm going to, at the risk of putting myself out there, I will guarantee you, parents, marks will happen. Technology today is giving us so much power as educators to plug everything that's going wrong with your children behind the scenes, like we had never done before. It's a fact. Agreed. So you will have those marks. But again, they will not have the childhood. They will not have that extra edge. They will not have the ability to answer a question. I have interviewed too many, and I've run 3 educational startups. I've interviewed too many young people. In 30 seconds, I've decided you're bookie.
Great book knowledge.
You've got great book knowledge, but you do not have the ability to make a decision. You can't be a part of my team.
Agreed.
You have to take risks. You have to take calculation. You have to speak. the art of communication, that happens
Yes.
when you're in a team.
Team.
And I'm going to give you the example of the Indian cricket team. Everyone comes from different parts of the country. There's no common language, but they learn to communicate. Look at the soccer leagues, the English Premier League. They have people from all over the world. Do you think everyone speaks the same language?
Not.
Do you think they all like each other? No.
Not at all.
But you learn to cope with whoever, because now you're a team member.
Team member.
You
Absolutely.
learn to watch someone's back. So I think that's going to, that's the differentiator. So marks, of course, I'm a mother of a 15-year-old. I still want my child to achieve. But I'm not going to push him to a point of achievement at the risk of missing out on others. I did that as a student. Like I said, my biggest regret is I didn't listen to enough music. I didn't play enough sport, which is why it's so important that the children have it. And please, parents, our world was very different. Their world is very different. We have no idea what the jobs for the future are going to be, but I promise you skills will be a part. Give them, therefore, exposure so that whatever happens, you have given them what I call a great foundation. Then they can adapt. Give them their life. Let's not control them.
Yes, absolutely. This is what I was waiting for. Give them their life. Let them dream about their own life and let them fulfill their own dreams, ma'am. Why can't we, as parents, we need to do that. We need to give our child that freedom, actually.
So you know how a doctor's child would be asked, so you're going to become a doctor. Lawyer's son will be asked, you're going to become a lawyer. Engineer's son saying, acha, engineer kare. But I don't understand why. I am so tired, and my son is so tired. Every time anyone sees him, so you like cricket? So he says, no, I don't even watch it. I like football.
Exactly.
They were like, Hari, how can you not like cricket? But why? Why are we living our life through our child?
Absolutely.
They are also
Yes.
people. So basically, every generation is making the same mistake. It's time this generation breaks free. Let the children be themselves.
Lovely, ma'am. I was waiting for this, actually. I knew the answer, but I wanted others to know about this answer. Because I myself was a mother of two kids, not exactly kids, 20, 22 years old daughters, in college. I have always felt, and I've always been into parents community. I've always advised them to let them live their own life. They have their own dreams. Let them fulfill their own dreams. They can't live our life which we have missed out.
Yeah.
So,
Rabia, actually, because you mentioned daughters, I was on a parent seminar, and there's one parent, her child was doing Cambridge in grade 9. This young lady, this girl, was so brilliant. She was doing ballet, she was playing squash and badminton, and in each of them excelling, and academically as well. So the mother said, Fatima, is it time now, grade 8, that I'll tell her to pick one? I said, when she's good with ballet, she's good with badminton, she's good with squash, that means she is so talented. Why would you ask her to give up? He said, no, because now it's time to concentrate. No, now business end of life, 8, 9, 10 is important. Fir marks. I said, if you give that up, I will personally come and write to the principal.
True.
This girl should be doing, because see, badminton and squash are two differing sports. Requires different eye-hand coordination, different muscle movement. But the kid is so talented that she's excelling in both. So that means this is a special child.
Special child.
Let her explore.
Absolutely. Very well said, ma'am. Thank you so much for such beautiful insights and beautiful information. Coming to the next question. Ma'am, as we all know that not every student may like the pressure of being guided in their layer activities. Should they play sports and minimal guidance just to ensure that they are safe, but give them the freedom to form their own team, rule, and just play for fun? So what are your...
Brilliant question, Rabia. That's a brilliant question. Yes, parents, please understand, up to the grade 5, what we call primary education. The National Education Policy calls it foundational years and preparatory years. So basically, nursery, which is 3+ up to grade 2, is called foundational years, and then 3, 4, 5 is called the preparatory years, which this age group cannot specialize. They are still developing. Their muscles need both gross and fine motor development. They need to be exposed to everything, and they cannot be put into an academy at age 3. So if you are sending your child or daughter to a basketball academy at age 3, it's wrong. You can't be in a cricket academy at age 3. Children need to run, to play, to fall, to just enjoy without someone telling them this is the right technique. It cannot happen. You know why? Simple child psychology, educators and mothers and parents listening, it's developmental stages. The child is growing. The maturity hits when the children come into middle school, which is grade 6 and above. That's when you will figure out, oh, she is actually better off at, table tennis, or she is better off at track and field, or he's better off at soccer. Till then, children should be playing as many sports as possible without structure. There are some very good academies. You can research also, Google. Those academies that are going to coach the children should not be your choice. Those academies, like Rabia beautifully pointed out, that give children the freedom to make their own rules. Remember our childhood. Now I'm telling you to remember. We made our one bounce out. We created our own rules because we had fun in the limited space. You know what? That's critical thinking. That's allowing, and Ajit actually points out, let the children fall in love with the game. Let the children not be pressured with technique. It's wrong to change someone's style till age 5. Unless there's a spectacular talent like Tiger Woods or Usain Bolt, but on an average, children should just be left to run, play, unstructured, fun activities. Now, even if you're going to the academy, it's okay if they do fitness drills and all of that. Mini matches, mini simulations, that's all good. But someone telling your son and daughter to change the batting style might not be ideal, in my opinion. You can, basketball also, there are drills, but you're not playing basketball at grade 2. You're learning the basic movement. That's more important. If the foundation is strong, think of a building, everyone. If that piling work is not done, that building will fall. So if you don't allow the children that freedom to fall in love with it, what you're doing is you're going to make it a pressure, a task. You have Andre Agassi, a great tennis legend, saying he hated tennis. He hated tennis. He still became a great, but he said that's not how you should play. You should have I should have enjoyed it. I never enjoyed it. On the other hand, Roger Federer, his mother, his parents exposed him to everything. So he fell in love with the game. And his mother, because he used to get so angry when he was playing, his mother said, if you are not able to control your anger, I will never let you play tennis again. So she inculcated a different, attitude in him. Now they call Roger Federer Mr. Cool, like Dhoni. He is able to channelize his energy. So think along those lines is my honest feedback or suggestion.
And also, ma'am, I believe, we can't pressurize, we can't make rules and policies for toddlers or pre-primary kids. Otherwise, they would be restricted to one thing and they would not be able to open up. They would not be able to come out of their own shell, if I'm not mistaken.
And we're programming the kids anyway, no? This exactly. You do now, then you go for this class, then you eat this food, then you do this. Absolutely. So all they're hearing is this.
Yes, you are controlling the child's brain and child's mind. How will they, grow? How will their mind grow? How will their brain develop if we are controlling their mind?
And the pandemic has caused all of this at home.
Absolutely.
Parents were struggling. My child is always irritated, always bored.
Yes.
Because you controlled it. You didn't allow your child.
It. Yes, absolutely.
According to me, staring out of the window also for 20 minutes is compulsory.
Absolutely.
Get bored. Yes. Please get bored. So that you then think, now mother's not helping me, father's not helping me, daddy's not helping me. Let me figure it out. Kind of like what we did in our childhood. We did not have all of this. We learned to invent games. So I think that's a very, very crucial part of freedom. Let's not control these kids beyond. Honestly, these kids are smarter than we are. They'll figure it out if we actually let go.
Absolutely. Ma'am, when we control the mind of a child, all the emotions get triggered up. They get more frustrated. They get more, when it comes to the psychology. Believe me, ma'am, I have, being a mentor to the students, I've been able to understand that what kind of stress level they are going through when they are at home during this pandemic. Because, everything is so restricted at home, because when they go out, obviously they'll pay, they will have some physical activity, they'll be able to talk to their friends. But when it comes to pandemic, the things are restricted. They have been trapped at home. And yes, as a parent, we always feel that no, things should go on timely basis. There's a timetable, there's a schedule. I think when during the pandemic, when the kids are already under stress, we cannot restrict them to follow a particular timetable. Let them do some few things freely as the way they want. What do you suggest, ma'am? I think
Absolutely. And Rabia, sometimes parents also tell me, my child doesn't know what she wants to do. The child is in grade 4.
exactly.
You put your child in 40 different classes. Of course, your child is not, my child is not showing dedication. She wanted to play football. I put her in football. Now in 3 months, she's saying, I don't want to do it. I want to now play basketball. Now, how much can I keep paying? But parents then don't do that. You put your foot down. Allow the child. Now she is not liking it. Figure out what the problem is. Is it the coach? Is it the team? Is it the distance? What is it? Your analysis of your child is because you're comparing your child with others. See how that child is doing this dedicatedly. Because that child is dedicated. Maybe your child needs a little bit of hand holding. I think the comparisons make us anxious as parents, and then we want this perfect child who sings, dance, plays, academically brilliant, speaks well. That child doesn't exist. You are not that person.
Exactly. Yes.
I think that is the pressure that you mentioned. I've had a lot of kids also tell me, Miss Fatima, please can you tell my mother I do not want to play cricket. She wants to play cricket, let her go and play cricket. I'm not interested in it.
Absolutely.
Just because so-and-so's son is going, she's sending me along.
Exactly.
He says, I'm not interested. So I think we have to be realistic about what our children want. And sorry to say, parents, when you say your child is not dedicated at grade 4, that's very unrealistic. Of course, they will make some mistakes. If they don't make the mistakes on your watch, whose watch will they make the mistakes? You want him to make the mistake at grade 10? I would rather make mistakes while they're growing up so we can guide them. Figure out the root problem. Why is your child not interested in anything? Could it be an attention problem? Do you need to get a therapist to intervene? Figure out the root problem. Don't always, complain. The other thing about, the comparison is that I think our children are under a microscope at the moment because of the pandemic. Previously everything was outsourced. No, children were out of the house, so half the things parents didn't know. Exactly. Now that everything is in the house, I worry about these children. Teachers are also watching them. Parents are also watching them. They've become this little project. The child must be saying, I can't wait for the vaccine. If I can, let me invent it so I can go out. I think let's be realistic.
Yes, agreed, ma'am. This is what is happening. Actually, this is the real scenario, basically.
The teachers checking camera off, on nahi hai, email the parent.
Exactly.
I think let's just let the children live. And I'm one for, I always bat for the children. When they argue with me saying, but why do we have to have our cameras on? I said, because the teachers need to see you, because they miss you. Really? They see us every day. So one day if our camera is off, it's not going to really hurt anyone. But I like that. I like that they're thinking, I don't know why we create rules that are so rigid. Let's just be real. I don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown. It doesn't look like we're opening till Diwali for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think let's create that own disruption and let's create rules that work for us and our family and our school.
we've got children from grade 10 of some of the schools, and they're really having a good time when you're saying this. They're laughing it out.
Yes.
They're all relating to what you're saying.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be very popular. I'm not sure I'm going to be popular with their parents and teachers, though.
I think amongst children for sure, ma'am. Amongst children for sure, you'll be very popular now. As it is, you are famous personality when it comes to sports curriculum, but now you'll be more popular amongst the students as well. They
I'm
will
going to
love
get
you
emails
more.
from people saying, "Can you write to my mother and explain this?"
Yeah.
Of course, they love you more, ma'am. Believe me, they love you more. So, ma'am, when it comes to, as we already discussed a lot of things about the sports, now I believe the sports helps the child to move freely, if I'm not mistaken. Can you please elaborate the statement once?
So a lot of life skills, a lot of, like I said, a lot of bottled up energy that also gets released. Also recognition of their own abilities. It's also great fun to be a part of a team because there's banter. It's not just about playing. It's also what happens before and after, the jokes, the dressing room. I know when Ajit retired, some of his best memories were not about the win or the, nobody likes the loss, not about the win. It was about what happened in the dressing room, what they discussed in their bus when they went, the friendship that emerges. It doesn't have to be your school friends because eventually when children start competing, it'll become a state or a national level integration. You learn to make more friends. You learn to actually know what to say when. So communication. You learn to pick up the pieces and laugh about it. You reflect on what didn't work out. Basically, you have that ability in that sense not to be judged because you have freedom to express yourself on the field, on the park, or whatever game that you're playing, but also learning along the lines. Like I said, decision making. What should you do? What should you not do? Watching other players, how they, emerge. I know Ajit started off playing very young in Ranji Trophy, and I'm relating it because I think that's the best way to explain. Otherwise, I'll sound like some professor with lots of words and it doesn't make sense. I'm relating it to what I know has worked for Ajit. Very young player that got into Ranji Trophy, and his dressing room had, a Vensarkar, a Manjrekar, a Tendulkar, of course. He has inculcated all the right values because of the dressing room that he was part of. It wasn't just about talent. He was a bowler, and they were all batsmen in that sense. But it was about how they approach things, the conduct. So many things you can pick up. And yes, it's freedom. It's freedom to express yourself. Some children are very private, but you put them on a park and you see how they emerge. You put them in a classroom and cameras are off. So it's giving them that freedom to do. And I hope children have that freedom. For those who don't like sports, like me, try it, give it a shot. You might find something that works for you. Like TT then became my go-to. Chess became my go-to. I basically like things that were a little sedentary. I didn't like the physical sport. Find something, but give yourself that recreation simply because it'll expose your world out. It'll give you freedom to express, and you'll get angry. And it's important to have that because then all the negativity comes out. Next time you laugh. So it's about these experiences that I call freedom. I worry about children who don't have this, and I'm hoping the national education policy will now warrant managements and parents to allow this freedom to the children.
Lovely, ma'am. Beautifully explained. Beautifully explained. Thank you so much. So, ma'am, with this, I would like to ask you one last question. Actually, we have spoken about the sports to be a kind of part of the curriculum. What about the assessment when it comes to the sports curriculum? Should the sports be assessed like the academic curriculum? What do you have to say about it? Because I think if we start assessing the sports as well, then again we are pressurizing the child and there would not be any kind of freedom. However, if we don't assess, there can be a possibility that the child might not be interested in going for the sports activity or sports curriculum. So please share your views
Wow,
and
Rabia,
your...
you have actually put together questions that have put me on the spot. And this one is perhaps the most tricky one to answer. Um, I just, I just want us as educators, as parents, to respect sport as part of a curriculum, which basically means, curricular topics that we talk: English, math, history, geography, global perspectives, IT. These are all subjects that we give a lot of respect to, because we believe this will help our children in the future, to build their careers or whatever. I mean, that's really our goal, to make our children, life ready and career ready. Right now, if sport is then treated as a subject that is recreational, I don't think we'll give it that importance. I don't think that vision will be top down. I don't think we'll pay effort and attention to giving more opportunities to children. So, which is why I wanted to be treated as important as math. Okay. Point is, to give that, and again, we're a country driven by marks. Unless we grade it, this importance will not come. It'll again be pushed away and say, chalta hai, it's okay, let's leave it. So I think at some level it should be evaluated, not assessed. It should be, you don't have to say, grade A plus or B plus or C, but you can say developing, meets expectations, talented, extraordinary, give some recognition to it, so students are motivated.
Right.
Because the moment it becomes A, B, C, it'll actually become another set, and I'm worried there'll be tuitions for PE also, or tuitions for sports also. That could happen. Again, we spoke about the love for sport. I'm hoping that, Rabia, the sad part of our statistics is 1 in 3 children by 2040 will be obese. Obesity at the primary level is going to be that. So we are going to be a country after America that is going to suffer with then diabetes and all health related problems because of the fact that we are not thinking about sports or physical fitness. So to combat all of that, I am hoping that it becomes a lifestyle. I don't have to go and represent India, but I can use it as a recreation, even if I am a CEO of a company. So think of it like that. To balance that out, let it be evaluated for sure, because it'll get the respect, but don't make it graded in that sense, which takes away the joy of actually playing. And I'm hoping that children like me, who never took to sport, are at least motivated, because now it's there in the mark sheet, to make an effort. No, but it wasn't important to me because, it comes in that report card at the bottom. So I said, it doesn't matter. I can have my mother send me a doctor's certificate that I didn't participate in sports day. But if we do that, we're actually doing disservice to children like me, and to children. To be motivated, you'll have to give them incentives. For me, this is an incentive to say, look, this is also going to be part of the overall CCE. And if you're doing really well, why not give a reward as well? Why not give an effort grade? Educators think about that. But it's not going to be the PE teacher, it's going to be the principal and the coordinator who's thinking like that. And it's going to be then the parent who also supports it. So, principals, I don't see sports awards in school. I see all merit awards, but I don't see a sports function, which is just awarding recognition for effort for the child who tried. So I think maybe some thoughts, someone who can take that risk in and make it, more cohesive effort to make sport an integral part. This cannot be a policy document. This now needs to be implemented. And webinars like this can give ideas.
Absolutely. I'm completely agreeing to you, ma'am. And it was very well explained that it has to kind of, we need to do some kind of evaluation when it comes to sports, so that children, the kids should love to play sports and not as a kind of restriction on them that, yes, it's a part of curriculum now. You will be assessed on the sports as well. So now you have another period, another class to do, and another, tuition class to attend. So I think very well explained. Ma'am, I have, there are a few questions in the chat box. I'll just read out to you, wherein we have already answered why sports is treated as an extracurricular subject in schools. More or less, I think we've already discussed that it's actually we need to change the mindset, whether it is a parent or whether it's the management or a government also, it has to be a part of curricular activities, the basic curriculum. So now somebody is asking, kindly share few tips of conducting new normal HPE sessions as it's an integral part of the curriculum. Over to you,
Yes.
Fatima, ma'am.
Yeah, so you can think about, like I said, I think at the moment with the unlocked down times, there is now a little access to lots of schools and parents, communities, and neighborhoods to access physical playgrounds. I think the one thing that the WHO has said is that the low risk is when you're outdoors, the high risk is when you're indoors. There are lots of these simple routine exercises, which is, again, I think yoga should be a big part of it because it can happen anywhere. If yoga can happen outdoors, the basic asanas, it's a full body workout. Let me put it this way. 20 minutes in the morning, 1 hour or 1.5 hours in the evening can be your offshore school curriculum activities that you can put out. So for me, if your virtual classes for academics is, about 4 hours a day into 5 days, 20 hours, at least 5 hours should be a combination of yoga, basically drills, cycling, skipping, basic stuff that the children can do with whatever equipment they have. I mean, the cricketers do this bleep test, which is 2 cones, and they run from one cone to the other with starting off slowly and then going faster. These are basic, simple exercises that can be done. So what I'm asking educators to do is think about putting these 5 hours as an offshore activity for children to record themselves and send it back to you. Grade that. Evaluate that. See what they're doing. Lots of videos. Whoever's asked that question, just simply go to Insta. You go to the reels and you'll find, just type in physical fitness. So many options are coming on, including TT, including tennis. Even basically, if you have one wall at home which is free, using any racket to get your upper body workout done by just banging the ball against the wall, if the parents allow. There are options. There are lots of options. I just think, at least scientifically think, if 20 hours they're doing learning, 5 hours, 1/4 of it should be sport dedicated. Again, there's esports, which is again a great option. It'll keep the mind ticking, the critical thinking. Esport is one of the largest industries in the world. The only country, again, that doesn't participate completely is India. Esport is very big across the world. You can be in a chess tournament with 160 cities. So just type in esports and you will see what all options you have. You can actually be in a cricket match with the simulation. So I'm saying you'll have to have a blended format. I think outdoor is now open. You can, basic things like cycling, skipping, jumping, you're running are all important. And finally, because there are less cars on the road, actually you can run. Previously, I'm a Mumbai girl, so I keep talking about how traffic is a problem, but you can use this opportunity to actually run. I mean, South Africa, England, Australia, America, they're running through the day. Here, we can't. We have to run at 5 o'clock or then at 10 o'clock in the night. But now you have that option because there are less cars at home. I think creatively think of it. Research is a good tool. Google comes in very, very handy. You'll find videos, and it doesn't have to be an Indian. It can be an Australian who's put it out there. Just find them.
That was the quite informative session. Informative and very insightful also. Another question comes up from Nilesh Patil. He says that in Cambridge board, can we include the sports physical education as a subject, because the exams happen in September month, not in Feb or March in India.
So no, that's not true. The Cambridge exams are now conducted at 3 points. There is a March session, there is a May session, and there is a November session. Okay, now, of course, dates vary depending on the calendar, but these are the 3 slots. A large part of the Indian schools are taking the March exams. Till last year, some papers were not accessible in March, which is why children had to take the May exam, but that's all being streamlined. So P is a curriculum subject. It is actually one of the most scoring subjects. It's got biology component, and it's got, of course, a physical aspect of it. P, I know my own niece stood first globally with PE as a subject. So it's actually the only board that's giving that respect to PE sport, and then it can help in sports management, physiotherapy. A lot of avenues open up if you have that as a subject. You may not want to include it in your 7, but students can take up to 9 and 11. It can be your 9th subject. I would definitely encourage, and it's very scoring. It's very easy. It's actually very wholesome. So yes, so I've clarified that. Ravi, I see a very interesting question. I think it must be a mum. Ma'am, at times we face parents' concern, or it must be an educator. We face concern that parents feel the children will get hurt. Of course, they're going to fall.
Exactly.
Of course, they're going to have broken bones. Of course, they will get bruised. Why are you afraid of that? Why are you afraid? It is not possible to go through life without a mosquito bite. It is not possible in life not to fall. It is not possible to go through life without your tooth being broken or your arm being fractured. It's normal. It's part of growing up. Thanks to medicines, thanks to technology, today there's intervention. Injuries cannot, parents, if you're listening, please don't hold us educators back because you're worried your child will fall. I will tell you your child will fall, but that fall is not going to be life-threatening. That fall will teach your child next time to be extra careful.
Absolutely.
And I know I come from a family where when my little one was small, haru za up to nako, hey nako karu, that nagging, because you don't want your child to ever get hurt. That's the worst thing you can do as a parent. If your child does not feel a bit of pain, the child will never learn the reaction next time to avoid it. So you are making the child dependent by protecting the child. Okay, I will strongly urge parents to think differently. You will never send your child to preschool saying hand, foot, and mouth disease ho jayega. Ho jayega. There will be cough, there will be cold, but you're building immunity. Today, if I can tell you, with the new WHO statistics that have come out, perhaps Southeast Asian countries are coping a little better in that sense, because our natural immunity is that we've had so many other infections already. Think about it. You cannot be a bio bubble. Your child will never.
We need to be realistic. It's a part and parcel of life, whether the child is falling and getting some bruises or some, we are falling and we are getting some infections or cold or stuff. It's a part and parcel of life. Haven't we fallen ill any time in our childhood? We need to think from our real-based stories, actually, when we were child, actually. Yeah. Why can't we be real?
What parents don't understand is when children pick up injuries when they're little, they recover much faster.
Yes,
absolutely. They have a natural ability as their body type to, it's almost that the cells multiply so quickly, the rehabilitation is much quicker. It's when they hit our age at 45 that then that's a problem. But you know why we have a problem? Because we weren't fit enough. Absolutely. We did not do enough in our childhood to get there. Imagine if our children are fit enough, they'll cope better.
Exactly. I agree. Very much agree to you. I have an interesting question, ma'am. Mr. Nilesh Patil, from Mr. Nilesh Patil, how to develop indigenous sports in school?
Again, it'll have to do with your mindset of the management as well. My suggestion is that pick up 1 or 2 easily accessible right now in virtual world, where they could have those equipment at home as well, so that they can follow those routines at home. When you're in the physical world, start talking about it, as a history lesson. Where did that come from? What is the origin of it? Show the children movies. That's a great way to get the children connected to what that indigenous sport could be. It could be anything. Pick any of our, Indian greats, as I call them, or anything. It could be from China. It can be from Japan. Whatever indigenous ones that you can pick up. Start off differently. Treat it as a story, a movie that they go through, and then get the kids to research, get the kids to figure out developing their own equipment to play it. Remember Gilli Danda?
Yes.
Nobody gave us tools and a checklist and videos and all. We just picked it up, right? So I think put the onus on your student council to do it. Pick one or two that they can develop. See how that builds on. Actually get the kids to lead it. You don't give the direction. This is where they will actually fall in love with, because actually the glamour is with what they see on television. These indigenous sports are not glamorous enough. So you put the onus on the kids to pick it up. My suggestion is please do one or two. We get very ambitious and then we want to do 5. Nahi hoga. So keep it simple. Reverse the story. Don't focus on the skill. Reverse on the beauty of it, why it worked. There are lots of movies and stories. And it's a different time. I know that, we think kids are not interested. I think kids are interested when you teach history in the way that is fun for them. And this actually could be a history lesson, by the way.
Yes, I agree. Very well explained, ma'am. Thank you so much for this informative answer. I think more or less we are done with the questions, but there is one more question from Ms. Tanishka, which is very relevant question, that few girls feel uncomfortable while playing, uncomfortable with the body or the uniform, etc. So how should we motivate such girls?
Yeah, I think this one's tricky because, traditionally as a country, we stereotype the children. And it subconsciously, I'm going to be very honest, I'm a girl. I completely identify with the question. Just not happy, running with the body type, etc. I think you need to show examples. You need a lot of counseling with these children like me. If I had been shown videos of sportsmen, who have gone ahead, and not the lean body types, sportsmen that were naturally endowed, girls who've gone ahead and achieved, you'll show those girls a path that it doesn't matter about the body type. What matters is the ability to participate. You'll have to also talk about the fact that this body type, if you are uncomfortable with it, will always remain like that unless you are fit. And fit then has to involve some physical fitness. I would be a lot more patient with these girls. I would start off with indoor activities. Start off with maybe chess, carom, bowling, anything indoors that is, that, like I said, doesn't involve too much running around. Slowly build their motivation. Physical fitness, yoga helps to a large extent, helps shape that body image also for the children, and then put them out. One size does not fit all. When I said exposure doesn't mean mar ke karo. I'm not saying that. I'm saying create motivation for every child to play, but some children need a little more time, a little more counseling. You may have to start from indoors and then take them outdoors. But I'm hoping those girls still go out there. There are lots of movies of, I know Sagrika has done a movie with, women playing in saris, football. I think we just need to just break that mold in their mind and let them know about examples. And there are plenty of examples out there. Again, counseling is going to be critical for these girls. I won't push them beyond because I know how emotionally affected these girls can be. But why not teach? It doesn't involve anything. But you know what it'll do? The physical movement, even to get the ball going, badminton, volleyball, pro ball, let them start off with those basic ones which don't have too much physicality in that sense, but they're getting to understand how much fun it is to play a sport.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again. It was quite actually very, I think that this question was relevant to most of the parents and educators. because we as girls, looking into the current scenario, whatever is happening outside the world, I think this was needed, and we actually grateful to you for sharing your insights on this. So with this, ma'am, we're just going to close the session. But before we end the session, I would really request you to share one positive message with respect to the sports only, which can motivate and which can help the educators, the management, and the parents to understand once again what is the importance of sports.
Okay, so to all the management stroke educators out there, start thinking about sports as your friend. Start thinking about sports as giving your school the recognition, perhaps that differentiates your school from the other. Don't worry about the infrastructure. You can play football even in those classrooms. Just move the furniture away. Don't worry. Make that effort to make it a top-down vision, because without your support, teachers will not give up their English periods or math periods or science periods. Without your direction, they will not combine math and biology. Without your permission, they will not take those risks and have awards ceremonies to recognize children. So I think it's important to make, I'm not saying sweeping changes, just have at least 2 sports that you believe your children. Why don't you throw a survey out to all your children? Ask them what they want to play. Give them 2 options. See what you can do. Bring in qualified coaches. Then don't have a retired 75-year-old man trying to motivate a 10-year-old. It's not going to happen. Get some youth in, get some virtual classes going. Do something to create an atmosphere. To the parents, again, sport is your friend. Sport might just be the career option for your child. So when you deny them the opportunities, when you prevent your children, when you scold them, when you don't give them access, you will be doing a disservice, because we will have 90% us. The difference is going to be what unique skill these children have. Sport is a big avenue. Just so you know, Rahul Dravid actually was going to give up his MBA to then play for India. So please know that. A family of educators, very, very, Zahir Khan, very dear friend of Ajit's, he was going to be an engineer. He had to decide between engineering and cricket, and he started playing cricket much later than Ajit. Parents supported it. Parents support in this. Ajit's parents are, both are in service. It was a middle-class Maharashtrian family. Of course, they wanted their child to become, chartered accountant, engineer, doctor, all of that. But when they saw the dedication that their child had, and his mother will say, I was not sure. Who knows that my child can go and play for India? But she said, the faith I had in my son allowed me that opportunity. Now, those are the parents we want. You want world achievers, you want careers, you'll have to support them, parents. So please push your management to give that sports period. You push, don't let the management push. And to all the children out there, you know what? You want to play, you will play. You'll get management support, you'll get parent support. But the one non-negotiable for you is going to be education. So you can't tell your mom and dad that, you know what, I'm too tired, I can't do this. You're going to have to do both. And I'm going to leave you with Andre Agassi's story. Please read the autobiography. And I had the pleasure of meeting him in Bombay. And so I asked him, I said, someone who was in the top 10 in the world for tennis is now in education, setting up schools. So he said, one of the important things to me, he said, Fatima, I was 1 in a million that made it to 1 to 10. But education is that backup that you have. I missed out on my education. So it's important for, me to pass on that message to children. Some will go on to achieve great laurels, but at least your education gives you. He's saying, that's what I missed out in my life. So children, little pressure. You might think I'm very popular with you because I'm supporting you all, but I'm also saying it's not one or the other. You want to play, we'll encourage you, but you've got to also make sure your basic foundation is placed, because education is one thing Andre Agassi said I fell back on, and I did not have the education. So I hope I've got a couple of things for you all to think about. I don't think in 1 hour session we can convey everything that sports
Absolutely.
education is all about. I'm hoping it's given you something to think about.
But it was very informative and insightful session. That was really a, I mean, very enriching session when it comes to sports and why is it important and how can we inculcate sports in our curriculum, how can we evaluate it. So everything you actually, you have briefed with and elaborated also to some extent. And I think it's a very, helpful to the parents, to the educators, to the schools, very helpful. So I would now request Prasad sir also to share his positive message when it comes to the sports side. I know, sir, you're from the Bakers and Vedic maths background, but still, I think I'm sure you must be wanting to say something about when it comes to sports as well, because the activity-based thing that you are handling already. So please share your beautiful message with all of us.
Rabia, yeah, thanks a lot, Rabia. Apart from what my business is, my daughter, she wanted to give up studies only for sports when she was just 8 years old. And she still wants to do that. And she still wants to pursue sports. And she wants to make a career in sports. So my question always was, I always had a question is, we've been talking about how boys have all the exposure and how they can get it. What about the girls? They want to follow sports. They have the love for sports, but there's no infrastructure. There are no grounds, and even if they find one, you have a lot of people coming and watching them. Probably not to see them play. Yeah, you won't have so many spectators when the boys are playing. Yeah, but when you have one girl on the ground there, you have a lot of spectators and a lot of question marks on everybody's face.
Yes,
So how can a girl put her foot down to basically make a career in sports if she has to? And as you said, education is important. So that's what we have to keep on telling them. Yes, complete your education. So I told her first you finish your 10th, then you can pursue sports and leave your school. Then I had to tell her to pursue her 12th, and then she can leave her school and then pursue her sports. And today she is in college and she still says, I want to, she's in the final year. So she has finally completed her education, but she still wants to pursue sports. I think we need to push all of them, all these children, let them get into whatever they want. Sports is a very important factor in life, and yes, if they put their foot down, they can go a long way.
So I'm sure you might have got a lot of answers from today's session from Ms. Fatima.
Absolutely.
But why you postponed it, why you kept lingering on for your daughter? So
no,
now
I didn't linger on. She is very passionate. She's played basketball at the university level. She plays cricket. She is pursuing cricket as a career where she wants to play for the Indian team. Yes, and she will do that. She's confident of doing that. Yes, the initial stages we didn't have good coaches, but right now we've got some very good coaches and they're guiding us. So she is somebody who's going to follow her passion, and we are not going to pull that up.
Excellent.
So as she said, parents need to be allowing their children to follow what they have to follow.
Yes, very well said.
Especially when it comes to sports.
Agreed, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Prasad sir. Thank you so much for this sharing this it's really real experience actually. And once again, I would like to thank you once again, ma'am. Deepest gratitude to Ms. Fatima for sharing her insights and be with us on this platform during this workshop. It was quite informative, and hoping to have another session with you soon about this course, because we can't sum up everything in one session. So hoping to have another session with you. And thank you to my audience, to my beautiful audience, for being with us on this workshop and enjoying and sharing your questions. And I'm sure you might have got your answers also. So once again, thank you to all. Have a good day and enjoy. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Hoping that something from this conversation can be implemented. Otherwise, we are all, listening into the webinars, and wo implementation nahi hota hai.
Exactly.
Some part of it, little
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rabia. Shall I end the session, Rabia?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks all. Thank you all.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely.